about Chris Weidman coming off back-to-back losses? This would be a really devastating loss for him if he were to pick up the third. And going forward, what would that mean for him specifically in this situation?
I think that's a great question, and I think it's the most important question about this whole card, to be honest. I mean, look, everyone is thinking about John Jones and what's it going to mean if Cormier wins or if Johnson wins in that main event, and that's obviously big. It's a little bit down the road, right? I mean, Jones wouldn't be able to come back until July at the very earliest, and likely even then, probably not. So, to me, the big one here is this co-main event, Gegard Mousasi and Chris Weidman. You know, the funny part about this is, to me, people don't realize this in UFC. I actually think on balance, it's a good thing. On balance, in the UFC, super fights notwithstanding, the best fight the best, man. Like, there are no tune-up fights. None. Look at what Chris Weidman is doing. He fought Luke Rockhold and lost. Then he fought Yoel Romero, who's now the unequivocal #1 contender. And now he's fighting Gegard Mousasi, who has 50 fights at less than 33 years of age, is the best he's ever been, and on a 5-fight win streak. Like, I mean, this guy cannot catch a break. And the truth is he wouldn't want one either. But I think that's super, super risky. I'm not saying these guys need to go down the boxing route where they take fights in between big ones that no one cares about. But what I am saying is if Chris Weidman loses this, what is he going to do at middleweight? There's no hope of a comeback at that point. You would have to jump a weight class and try to rehabilitate your career up at light heavyweight, which maybe he would be good at. But do you really want to do that rather than taking a fight that's a little bit more manageable, guaranteeing a win, and then you using that to buoy yourself back? Like, Chris Weidman's bigger than Gegard Mousasi, and he can wrestle, which has been a problem for Mousasi throughout his career. But geez, 2 losses, 2 bad losses. Remember, it was a late stoppage against Rockhold, and he got viciously KO'd. You were there, Alexa, at 205. It was terrible. So to me, you know, compounding that by facing Gegard Mousasi at his peak, I'm not saying he can't win, but if he doesn't, this is all in on the chips. He better hopes you get a ace card on the river.
Wow. All right, so if Weidman loses, that means Mousasi wins. What does that mean for Mousasi's career?
Huge. I hesitate to call it a signature win because he's got to win over Jacare too, although that was a semi-flukish one. But still, I don't know where I would classify it as among his many wins. But this is big because here's the other part of the equation. This is the last fight on Gegard Mousasi's UFC contract. He fought out his contract. He didn't renegotiate, and he has been very, very unhappy. He wants, yes, big fights, which he's more or less getting, but he wants to be paid. He's beaten Dan Henderson, doesn't make as much as him. He beat Vitor Belfort, doesn't make as much as him. He thinks he is criminally underpaid, and this is a guy who used to show up to press conferences and say 5 words, and now he shows up, and if he says 5 words, they're all expletives. He is angry, legitimately angry, and so remember, he's got a relationship from his Strikeforce days with Scott Coker, who's now the president of Bellator. Bellator, you might note, is on a free agent acquisition tear. So if he wins this, he ups his marketing power. He can make more. Even if he loses, he's still in a pretty good position, all those things considered. So to me, this is a big one for him, too. He also is playing a gamble here with less consequential career stakes, but some immediate ones of big impact.